Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm glad you could join me. Now if you want to see me do a river cross without getting me clothes wet, then stick around. Yeah. If one word sums up river crossing, that word would be don't. Don't do it, because it's dangerous. And if you can avoid a river cross by any way possible, then do it. Even if it means a massive detour. Go around and make that detour. And if you've got the night out here, then it'd be worth just sitting out the night as well. Wait till it goes down, because the river can go down as quick as it goes up, and it's worth doing that as well. Or turn around and go back where you come from. But if all else fails, then this is what you've got to do. Okay, if all else fails and you're going to make this river cross, then this is what you've got to do. First of all, you've got to find a place to cross. Now that place to cross mustn't be on a bend, because the outer part going round is going to go faster than the inner part, and there's going to be undercurrents on the flow on the wider sweep, and it could be deeper as well, so avoid bends. The river needs to be straight. It needs to be flat and not downhill, because rivers going downhill flow faster. And actually you're better off getting a bit where it's wider and not narrower, because a wider stretch this is going to be shallower than a narrower stretch, because the same volume of water going down a narrow stretch is going to be more deeper or faster flowing, or both. So you're better off actually going on a wider stretch. And also, if there's a few islands on the way, you could consider that, and because that'll give you a bit of a respite. And before that, prepare, have a cup of tea, maybe a meal. I'm gonna have a cup of tea in a minute, and prepare your clothes, and I'll show you that in a minute. Right, first of all, we're going to get ourselves a nice strong staff, nice strong stick, about roughly the height of yourself, maybe a bit higher wouldn't hurt, and strong enough so you can lean against it without it snapping. So we're going to do that now. Okay, we got the staff. Now you've got to consider the consequences of a trip as well, because if you trip, what will happen? Can you get your rucksack off fast enough so you can float on it? Where will you end up if you're floating downstream? Will you float to the other side of the bank, or the same bank you're on, or will you keep going? What's downstream? Is there a waterfall, or a water chute, or a log jam? And also, is it still raining? If you're in a party of people and one half makes it and the other half doesn't because the water gets worse, you've got to consider that as well. So you've got to plan everything before you start crossing. Now the place where we're going to cross is where the students used to cross years ago with Breakaway Survival School. And to be honest with you, it's the worst place you could ever cross a river. And but hey, train hard and fight easy, innit? Do the difficult stuff now, and if you come to the real thing, it's not so bad. But the reason it's no good is because it's narrow, which means it's deeper and it's faster flowing. And also there's a little bank on the other side. That's one thing I didn't mention when considering where to cross. Is there any obstacles on the other side when you decide to get out? Okay, let's get down there and do it. So where we used to cross is directly behind me, well, in that direction there. And last night it was raining, so the water's too deep and faster flowing today, so I'm not going to cross by there. That's probably up to my neck, I know this for a fact. And I'm not going to cross just by there, even though there's two islands. It's still too deep. And also, just around the corner there, just by there, there's a water chute. So I'm not going to cross by there either. So what I'm going to do, I've just had a look, and there's a place just up there, and we're going to attempt that. Right, I'm gonna cross the river about there. Now I know it's going to be a bit shallower, and first of all I'm going to take my clothes off and only wear my waterproof trousers, my waterproof jacket and my boots and nothing else. Although you could wear your hat as well if you wanted to. Okay. What I'm going to do then, step into the water with the stick in front of me, holding it firmly with my legs wide apart, and shuffle my way along, facing upstream. If you face downstream, something could run into the back of you, and also the water could push up against the back of your knees and make you fall over. So you face upstream, so the water's pushing in front of your knees, so it locks them. You lean forward slightly if you need to, and you don't close your legs. Keep your balance, keep your legs open, and shuffle across. What I'm going to do now is step into the water, make sure all my pockets are done up, and my rucksack's on my back with my staff. The rucksack straps are loose, and the belt is undone completely, and if you've got a chest strap, that's undone completely as well. And tread very carefully. And if it feels too bad, you just have to come back and try another place or try again. Well, as you can see, I never made it to the other side. It was too dangerous. I've got about 4 or 5 meters away from the end. That last bit was flowing too fast and it was starting to get a bit deeper. The depth wasn't the problem, it was the flow. It was flowing too fast and it was nearly knocking me over, so I had to come back. Well, I would have come back anyway because my car is over that way. But you get the idea. You strip off, you only wear your waterproofs and your boots and your hat if you want, and get yourself nice and warm beforehand, plan everything out. It's very noisy down there as well, so if there's more than one of you, you're planning a quiet place first, exactly, because you can't talk to each other down there. It's way too noisy. If anything goes wrong, you can't communicate. So even have a dry run as well before you have a go at the real thing. But once you get out the other side, you get your clothes on, top half first and then the bottom half, dry yourself off if you've got a towel, and then you're on the other side with dry clothes, because your waterproofs won't retain the water like cloth. Give your waterproofs a little bit of a shake, get the droplets off, and then get it back on if you want, or get the jacket on, whatever, and have another cup of tea if you have to, like I'm doing down there, just to warm up. Or if you don't want to, just get your rucksack back on and then get going again to warm up, if you're quite happy to do that. Make sure you've got everything, you know, your car keys and what have you, and crack on. Now, you can only do that method if the water is up to your chest. Any deeper you can't do it, because you'll start floating. Your rucksack will start floating first off your back, and then you'll start floating. You've got to watch you don't stop concentrating as well, especially in this cold. You've got to think all the time. It's about, well, on the lowland it was about 3-4 degrees when I drove in, but up here it's probably about 0 degrees Celsius, and with the wind chill it's probably about -2 or something, -2 degrees Celsius. A little bit of snow coming down now. You got it's not all brawn. You've got to have the strength to keep thinking as well, and keep going, especially in this cold. It'll numb your brain and stop your thinking, and that becomes dangerous. But yeah, so I'm gonna have this cup of tea now. It's made, and having my sandwich, and then I'll get going. When you get going after the river cross, because these boots these days have got spongy bits in and all that, not like the old army boots, they're just leather and that's it. You'd have to walk about 200-300 meters, and then no more than 500 meters really, and you'll be squelching because all the water has gone from your boots to your socks. Your socks have absorbed all the water, so what you do is you stop, you wring your socks out, put your boots and socks back on again, you carry on, and you do that a couple of times, and then eventually your socks won't absorb any more water, so you just carry on then, and hopefully by the end of the day, if it's a nice sunny day, you'll have dry socks. So yeah, that's what happens as well. So you got dry clothes, and your waterproofs are a bit damp, but they don't absorb moisture anyway, and they'll dry out. But your socks are wet. So on the tree. I don't know. Well, I hope you enjoyed that film, the river cross and all that, and how dangerous it could be, and I hope you learned something, and just feel free to subscribe and share, thumbs up, like and all that, and I'll see you on the next one.